So today is our desert day at Bonnevaux, which is a day of silence, and we do inner work but not outer work, and it's a time to adjust our routine, change the routine a little bit. So I decided to come out and have a little bit of lunch with a piece of bread and a bit of cheese and a couple of bits of fruit, and then do one of these little video lectios. And then, of course, because I was carrying the food, my old friend here wasn't to miss an opportunity, and so he's been following me around, and I'm sitting in this very beautiful little spot beside the chapel, behind the chapel, and decided to come here and do my midday meditation, have my lunch, and do this little video. Unfortunately, I forgot what I was going to talk about. But the experience of forgetting reminded me of the cloud of forgetting. When we meditate, we do two things. We go ahead into the cloud of unknowing. We let go of our usual ways of controlling the world through our imagination and our fantasy, and solving problems and analyzing situations and just daydreaming. But in order to do that, to get into the cloud of unknowing, which is disturbing and destabilizing at first, but eventually brings us into the knowledge of God. But before we can go into the cloud of unknowing, we have to go into the cloud of forgetting. We have to let go of all those things which claim our attention and demand our immediate solutions or decisions. Now, there are two kinds of forgetting. The kind of forgetting that happened when I couldn't remember exactly what I was going to talk about. And we forget appointments, or we forget names, or we forget telephone numbers, or we forget our own name sometimes, not very often, but there will become a point where we do forget everything. And that may happen while we have our relatives looking after us, or it may happen in the last moments of life. But at some point we will involuntarily forget everything, and only one thing, the one thing necessary, will be present to us. It will be one full, complete, inexhaustible, totally full knowledge. So there's the involuntary forgetting of things, but then there's also the willing, voluntary forgetting of ourselves. And that's what we do when we sit down to meditate, as I will now, beside this flowing river, the river Rhône that flows through Bonnevaux. And here in this little bridge, it flows over the edge and flows on up to the end of the valley. And time is this continuous flowing river of time, this river of being, this river of consciousness. And what happens is we tend to get fixated upon individual bits, individual memories, individual anxieties about the future. And we lose the sense of the whole perspective, the whole river that we are not only sitting beside, but which is carrying us along to an unknown and unknowable destination, full knowledge, full awareness, which will be the fullness of love in its own time. You have to do this work of voluntarily letting go of our thoughts and plans and memories, and even, ultimately, ourselves. And that's what I'm going to do now. So if you have a moment, please come and meditate with me. And there's one last inspiration, maybe more inspiring than anything I've said. Look at these beautiful manifestations of divine beauty beside the wall of the chapel here. And if we're lucky, Bertie will join us. He's decided to meditate underneath the bench where it's a little cooler for him. I should just add that I had forgotten, as I told you, what I was going to say originally, but Bertie reminded me, so I'll tell you next time.